Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. There is a big tension and rivalry between Zelensky and Zaluzhny. Zaluzhny is the commander-in-chief of the Ukraine armed forces. Zelensky is the president-elect of some Ukrainians. Why some Ukrainians? Because some of them were not allowed to vote. So he's just of some. Now, this tension between the politicians, the civilians, and the military, the professionals, the tension between these two groups is well known. And the main claims each side has is the politicians think that the military, the officers, are just too narrow-minded and not very bright. And the military professionals think that weasels, politicians don't know anything about military strategy and anything else, which is true. And both think that are smarter and more important than the other ones. On the other hand, the military has this little chip on its shoulder because they supposedly have to listen to the politicians, to the civilians. Whereas for them it's like, I'm a general, everybody listens to my order. Why do I have to ask this civilian that doesn't know anything about military, strategy and so on? Nothing. I have to listen to him making or her making and having the last word. So if you know a little bit, how should I put it, hierarchical psychology, you understand that these generals do not like to receive orders or being interrupted, because in their lives, where they live every day, they give orders 100%, and their orders are followed, are completed. It's like gods. So you don't, especially when they disconsider a person, like a politician. In this case, we have a clown, Zelensky. This fight between Zaluzhny and Zelensky came to my attention, I think it was about June last year. June, July, something like that. I made an article on that, a video on an article where Zelensky and his group of weasels and backers jumped on Zaluzhny, telling him that his comments, he made some comments then, that he needs about 300 to 500 tanks to conduct an offensive, a good offensive, and he said that he's not getting that. But he was asked a question and he just answered it. Now these guys, immediately politicians, Zelensky and his group of Zhmihals, jumped on him and you shut the hell up, you don't know anything what to talk about, don't talk without asking for permission, basically. And Zaluzhny said, well, it's okay, I'm just a military, I'm just here, I'm just to fight the war, to defend my country, but I was asked a question, therefore I answered it, but I will not talk anymore. That was then. In one of my, the problem right now is Bakhmut. They don't know who to blame whom. They just shift responsibility. Zelensky versus the military. So Zaluzhny, Zelensky, Zizi. So Zizi Top here have a problem, which is they don't know who to blame whom for people encircled in Bakhmut and losing Bakhmut. Obviously the truth is somewhere in the middle, a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. Who's going to tell us the truth would be whomever owns the mass media. And if the mass media wants Zelensky to be the good guy, Zelensky would be the good guy. If they want Zaluzhny to be the good guy, he will be the good guy. Now, I said before that in a society, the ones who have brute power will always lead, because you can't fight them. You can be a politician. If someone shows up with some automatic weapons and they tell you what to do, you're not going to start bullshitting politics. He's going to shoot you and he's going to do whatever he wants. So you're good just for being a little mouthpiece for the gun with a guy with a gun, the other way around. So I said that in Ukraine, that might be, the Ukrainian army might break into pieces, might not follow Zelensky's lead, but I don't know exactly who those guys, the real leaders, they support, Zelensky or the military. The military could do a little bit of insurrection inside Ukraine, and then the Western countries will be what? Will try to assassinate Zaluzhny or whomever breaks from the military, because I don't think that they look at this Zhmihal Zelensky, Yermak, and Reznikov with good eyes. And it's okay, the Ukrainian nation can be led by these guys. I don't think so. Why I don't think so? Because I kind of know Hungarians, Ukrainians, and I kind of know some of them how they look at this situation. An elected guy appoints certain kind of people. So anyway, let's read this article where we have, they're going to try to cover, I have 5 articles. 2, they talk about the situation between, the tension between Zaluzhny and Zelensky, and then 3 articles that will prove who's lying, or at least bringing back articles providing an insight on who said what. So let's get going with this article from Russia Today. It is from 6th of March 2023. Zelensky at odds with top general, Bild, the German whatever tabloid is. Commander Zaluzhny, the one on the right here, called for a withdrawal from a key city, but the president has refused, the newspaper reported. So he said, based on his, whatever he saw on the territory, we need to withdraw. This guy, for political reasons? No, I'm the guy, tough guy. An internal conflict is underway between Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky and General Valery Zaluzhny, VZ, what the hell, brothers here? Now, remember, this is the Russians talking about it, but I have another one from the Ukrainians about the same subject, and they say the same thing, maybe a little bit of variation. So, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, according to government sources cited by Bild on Monday, Kiev insiders told the German tabloid that the military commander, Zaluzhny, called for a withdrawal from a key Donbas city weeks ago. Zaluzhny advised the president, this weasel right here, to abandon Artyomovsk, which is Bakhmut, known as Bakhmut in Ukraine, rather than keep defending it, as Russian troops threatened to take control of the city. I said I made a video on February 1st when I said Bakhmut is gone, done. That was the first sign that this guy, like, oh my God, these guys are reporting it. Even the Ukrainians kind of like that way. However, the Ukrainian leader, Zelensky, declared the city a fortress. Remember that one? And refused to pull troops back. I remember that. When he said that it's a fortress. Russian forces have made notable advances. Okay, now we have, according to US media, Washington has been urging Zelensky to put out of Bakhmut and focused on preparing a major counteroffensive for the spring using Western supplied weapons. I made a video on that. But the Ukrainian president fears a morale hit that such a move would cause. And says, Bild sources claim that the Ukrainian troops on the ground in Bakhmut, and I'm quoting, do not understand why the city is being held, end quote, and believe they should have withdrawn a long time ago. Zelensky recently stated that Ukrainian forces would defend it as long as it remains reasonable to do so. That was about 2 days ago or 3 days ago when he said that. The German tabloid also noted that Zaluzhny's popularity for leading the military campaign against Russia makes him a viable challenger to Zelensky in potential presidential run. No, it's not going to be a potential presidential run because it's going to be a continuous martial law. And there's not going to be any elections as long as Zelensky will not do that. And Zelensky was just going to go somewhere else in Tahiti, Israel, or London, or in Florida. That's where he's going to retire. Or someone from Zaluzhny's circle will arrest him and take care of him. These are options here with him. The general has not publicly announced any ambition to run for office, but rumors have been circling in Ukraine for months regarding Zelensky's concern over possible competition. Yes, that video in, I think, June, July is revealing. Now, this is from Ukrainska Pravda. The same German tabloid speculates Zelensky and Commander-in-Chief disagree on Bakhmut strategy. And he says that Zelensky and Zaluzhny appears to have had a dispute with Zelensky with Zaluzhny over the battle for the city of Bakhmut, which has been under repeated Russian attacks in summer 2022. Now, and I'm quoting, several weeks ago, Zaluzhny recommended considering a withdrawal from Bakhmut due to tactical considerations. In late February, President Zelensky said the Russian occupation forces were putting insane pressure on Ukrainian troops on the Bakhmut front. Now this is just to cover Zelensky's ass right here. It was unnecessary, this. On March 3rd, Oleksiy Danilov, Secretary of Ukraine National Security and Defense Forces, said that the situation on Bakhmut front was very difficult but under control. Okay, now let's go to this article where we have the U.S. general from Ukrainska Pravda, from European Pravda. So it's another Ukrainian news outlet, okay? And this is from February 14th, so the mid-February. U.S. general, Ukraine will not surrender Bakhmut. Hostilities to cease after Russia's defeat. So this is the idiot, this guy right here. General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff of the United States, he's an idiot, okay? Calls the battle for Bakhmut the most extensive in terms of casualties. He predicts the Ukrainian forces will not surrender the city. Why do you predict that? Why do you predict that? Is it something we don't know? Yep. So this is one, and then I'm going to next one here. Right here. No one will surrender Bakhmut. This is on February 3rd. All right, from Ukrainska Pravda. No one will surrender Bakhmut. I made a video on February 1st, not 3rd, that they are done. And this guy on the 3rd says no one will. All right. So Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, has said that there will be no withdrawal. There will be no withdrawal of Ukrainian troops from the frontline city of Bakhmut. Got that? We know who's who and who's what? And what's what? Okay, we still have as this guy say nowadays, the receipts for this. Zelensky at press conference following the Ukraine-EU summit reports, No one, quote, no one will surrender Bakhmut. We will fight as long as we can. All right, that means what? Until you die, all of you? Yeah. All right, so let's go back to next one. This is another article from Ukrainska Pravda. Ukraine not to surrender Bakhmut. Russian paratroopers badly hit. Lieutenant of Ukraine's armed forces. On February 14th, remember this one? This was one on February 14th as well. So let's go back to this one. Ukrainian fighters are not going to surrender Bakhmut in Donetsk Oblast to the Russian invaders. A multi-layer defense perimeter has been set in the city. I would like to assure you that the Ukrainian forces are not going to surrender the city. So this is Volodymyr Nazarenko, deputy commander of Svoboda Battalion, lieutenant of the National Guard of Ukraine, in a broadcast of Svoboda Live program. So the thing that I did not see here was Zaluzhny. I didn't hear anything about Zaluzhny saying anything, we're not going to surrender the Bakhmut, we never will, or let's get out. I didn't hear that. I think it would have been unallowed or not allowed to have Zaluzhny. Maybe he said that, but the fact that we didn't hear it is because the mass media, we did not allow it to trickle down to us. That's how it is. But we had the other ones because they had to, just look at Zelensky, how he always is by his, public relation team pictures. Look at his lights. If you are familiar with the lights and, in a video, and if you do some little research, just you need to watch a video, don't have to listen to me, you're going to see that his weasels over there follow the exact rules. So those are professional photographers and, editors. They put the light from the side, they put a light in the back, they put a light over there, 3 lights. Look at his shades. Look how his hair is, the facial hair is trimmed, the beard. But he wears that thing like I'm not watching, I'm so concerned, I'm with you guys, I'm not gonna... Yeah, and look, his hair is never dirty, it's always clean. You can tell a dirty hair versus a clean hair. So always shiny and beautiful, but he's at war. Put a freaking suit on and look decent for your position. You're not at war, you're just a guy, you use the same rooms, the same thing that you use as... but that looks good for idiots. And that's intended for them, not for you or I. So, what's next? What's next, I think, it depends how powerful Zaluzhny is in his military, in his group. And I think you always have enemies, you always have weasels who want to take your spot. And in this case, they take your spot not with a "you're fired," but "poop, you're fired," or they simply arrest you. The problem is how many loyal commanders you have around you, you're surrounded with, so you will not allow that. And usually the generals are, usually, I would say 99% of the time, the generals are loved. If they're idiots, they're idiots, but I don't think Zaluzhny is an idiot whatsoever. I think he's a smart guy, he's a courageous guy, he's a military. I like him better than any other Austin or Milley, just by whatever he said. And I read his biography too, and anyway, what can I say? He's not an idiot whatsoever. But Zelensky is a weasel, big time. Now, if he's strong, Zaluzhny is strong with his loyal people around him, he will not be eliminated. If, Zelensky wants to fire him, I don't know if he would follow that order. Because what I think here is Zaluzhny, the general, knows the real situation on the front, and he's calculating cost-benefit on the territory, not cost-benefit in perception, like the other one, the politician. The politician is about the election, about the perception, about I'm doing this, I'm all that, I am that. This guy is going to shoot us, going to kill us, and he's looking at his nation. I don't think Zelensky is looking that way. I think Zelensky is looking at something else. So I think I'm pretty sure that Zaluzhny is looking at his nation. And I think he's going to say, you know what, time is to negotiate. If he's going to say time is to negotiate, which is a kind of illegal stuff over there almost. I know it's illegal in Ukraine to negotiate with the Russians. I don't know if it's illegal to even comment about it or say maybe we should talk to the Russians. Because Zelensky doesn't want to talk with anybody, because the guys in Washington don't allow him to talk with anybody, and he plays the role very well as a weasel. So if Zaluzhny decides tomorrow to say, you know what, things are bad, this guy cannot give anybody's orders. Zelensky cannot do anything unless, I don't know, he's got some weasels infiltrated in Zaluzhny's circle and they take him out. And he's got a helicopter accident or something like that they usually have. Or they might have maybe a Russian missile hitting a command post where Zaluzhny was present. Happened before. So that interior minister, that his helicopters just fell in Kiev, for me is very suspicious, very suspicious. That's an easy way to take care of someone in the military and in these kind of circumstances. When someone you want to take care, he's going to fly, hit him, boom. It happened in many, many instances. I can give you the example of Lebed, that bad colonel that became general, I think at one point. He was shot down. They say it was a helicopter accident. How can it be a helicopter accident when you have a important... that helicopter should be the most perfect, let's put it idiotic, most perfect helicopter in the whole Russian army. And he just has a, pilot is drunk, or the helicopter has some technical difficulties and he dies. I don't believe that a bit. That helicopter was 100%, 1000% perfect. It was shot down probably by someone who wanted to take care of him. Got an order, boom, down. And how do you take an order? He is a security threat for our nation. You gotta, this is your mission. And you say, yes, sir, and do it. You're not gonna check, hey, wait a second, is it true? Let me make a few calls. Hey, is it true that, man, just do it, boom. The same with here, with CIA and these guys. These guys receive orders and they do it. Do you think that a CIA agent is gonna say, well, I don't know if I should do that? I'm not sure if, let's say, Tulsi Gabbard is Russian asset. If I receive the orders, I do what I'm not going to think, oh, maybe, I don't know, Ted Cruz is not a Russian asset as this order gives me the green light to do this. He's not going to say that. What's the order? Pack, take it, go. I don't know how that works. Then I don't want to say any more on that one. But I'm just saying, you receive the order, pop, case scenario, go do it. You did it. I defended my country. Why? Because the order came from someone who loves his country. You don't question the superior's abilities. That's how it goes. So, we'll see what's happening over there between Zaluzhny and Zelensky. ZZ Top. That's how I'm going to call these guys, ZZ Top group. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.